Hi guys, it's Everyday Knife Guy here with a video I've been looking to do for a while. This knife in front of me is basically the first knife or first real knife that I owned, and sort of the blade that I would credit with becoming a bit of a knife nut or knife collector, whatever you want to call it. This is the Normark EKA Swede 60. I bought this back probably in the mid-90s. I bought it new from a hunting and fishing game shop in Scotland. I grew up in Scotland and moved to Canada around 6 years ago, and back then, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but back then I guess knife rules and regulations in the UK were a little bit different. This is a lockback design, fairly good sized blade. It's a little over 8 inches open. And the blade itself, I believe, let me just check for you. The blade itself, as you can see, is around 3.5 inches. So it's a good size folding knife, lockback design, modified clip point shape. And yeah, I grew up in a very rural area of Scotland, and I was forever outdoors. I was, you know, playing and messing around in the forests and fields and so on, and I knew nothing about knives. I just knew that I had about 20 pounds in my pocket, and I wanted a knife that looked sturdy and would, you know, cut up some wood for fires, do some whittling, and just for messing around, something to have in my pocket. So this is what I got. It is a very sturdy knife, reasonably ergonomic. There's a large button for the lock back here, which kind of digs into your hand a little bit, but overall you get a pretty nice grip on it. You can see on the blade here, if I can get the light to come on it, you should be able to see there EKA Sweden, Sandvik 12C27 steel, and on the other side is blank. This is actually, I believe, the smaller brother to the EKA Normark Big Swede, which is a pretty classic and well-known blade, very popular in the UK, and for a long time I guess I thought this was a Big Swede, but it doesn't have Big Swede stamped on the reverse as they usually would. And so doing a bit more research on it recently, I found it's, as far as I can tell, it's a Swede 60. If you know differently, please feel free to correct me. I'd love to know exactly what it is. I, of course, long since have forgotten what it was I purchased in the shop. I was just a teenager, and certainly don't have any packaging or receipt or anything for it of that nature. The handles, I would say, are Zytel, like a hard plastic, fairly smooth, but you can see the ergonomics and the shape of it really locks your hand in. A bit of a guard there, and the big fat tail on it just sits behind your pinky finger. With a little ramp to the guard there, you can get a nice purchase for your thumb. Really nice knife for whittling, light bushcraft tasks, that sort of stuff. And you can probably tell, looking at the blade, it took quite a lot of abuse from me when I was younger, and again I knew, as I say, nothing about knives. I didn't know how to look after them, or particularly want to look after them. It wasn't something that I ever thought, you know, I'm going to get into collecting knives. So it got a lot of abuse. It's been polished up at various times and sanded, and I recently cleaned it up a little bit, got it back somewhere to how it should look, but I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on it, getting it back to look immaculate, because in a lot of ways the reason I still have it is, of course, sentimental. It's, you know, I discovered this again in some packing crates years later, and it kind of kick-started my hobby and got me back into knives. I thought, you know, that's kind of cool, and, you know, maybe I like knives. So, yeah, I credit it with being useful in its working days, and start me off on the knife collecting and gear hobby, I guess. So that's pretty much the construction of it. It's full. You can fully disassemble it. You can see there's 4 just flathead screws there. It comes apart for easy cleaning. I have done that, and at the back there is a hidden lanyard hole. You can see that just pops out there, so it's quite a neat feature. The blade itself, despite all the abuse, still nice and straight, still pretty sharp. I touched it up recently, so it should be fairly good. Oops. Not terrible considering all the abuse it's had, and if you look closely, I don't want to show this off too much, if you look closely, the bevel on this side is nice and even. There's a bit of a bulge here. It's been badly sharpened, probably by me or one of my friends at some point, but yeah, it's still It's still usable if I need it, but for the most part this just sits on my desk and is a bit of a memento for me. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. First real knife I guess I owned, and one that will never leave my collection. And yeah, the larger version, the Normark Big Swede, is a more famous brother of this, I guess, and JW's Bullets and Blades did a review on that I found on YouTube, which is an excellent review. I'll put a link in for that in the description, and you can go check out his channel if you like retro knives or more unusual knives. A great channel to be subscribed to. He's a lot of cool stuff on there, so I'll put a link for that in the description. If you still own the first knife, or the knife that got you into knife collecting, being a knife guy, knife girl, please feel free to do a video response. I'd love to see what that was and kind of the reasons you bought it, and how it influenced you in getting into knives. So yeah, feel free to do a response, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.